We are now in the text-to-image field. You are actually always, when you come onto the interface, already in the text-to-image area, so you have the possibility to switch the models that you want to generate with. Every model has its own, let's say, specific use cases. So the SDXL model, the SD3, and the Flux Schnell are like all-round image generate whatever you want. So the Flux Schnell right now is the most advanced. And if you want to go into details, then maybe one of the others is the model to click. But we are going to go with the Flux Schnell. You have the prompt field here, and I'm going to shove myself to the side. There is a prompt field, there's a negative prompt. You have the possibility to switch on the prompt helper, then there will be some words popping up here, and you can decide if you want to have them in the prompt or not. They are based on what you're writing here. You have the quality booster. I would recommend that for maybe realistic images, because sometimes it does change the image a lot, but it also just adds words to the prompt itself. So it's basically what, for example, Midjourney does in their system prompt. They already add a lot of words in the back end so that your image will always be in a very good quality, but we like the idea of being able to switch it off and switch it on. We don't need anything of that because, or at least not that, because we are going to prompt from scratch. So the nice thing about Flux Schnell is that it's really good with words. So I didn't change anything here except that I clicked on that it's going to generate 2 images. So let's take, for example, a prompt that shows the complexity of an image that can be generated. We have quite some details in here. A young man with a green shirt in the foreground, 3 old men in the blurred background, wearing colorful Hawaiian shirts, green, red, and blue, soft light, a waterfall in the far background, selfie style photography, authentic snapshot. We have everything inside. This is Flux Schnell. And this actually is not even the big model, Flux. We are waiting for the API to use that and implement as well. So let's see what happens if we choose a different kind of model and make it a little more specific. For example, an architecture sketch. You see here that the architecture sketch is already switched on just by clicking the model. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to use ChatGPT to actually configure a really good prompt. I am not so good with words, and that is why I use this ChatGPT, and I'm going to have a link in the description as well to where to find the base prompt to actually generate these kinds of prompts. And I'm just going to copy paste the architectural sketch of a building shaped as a pumpkin standing at a cliff into the positive prompt, and what it gives me as a negative prompt into the negative prompt. We have here the field of 1 or 2 images. Let's just generate 2 images. The sampler is something that you can fiddle around with. It's a little complex, but maybe just experiment, because we have to find out how to make that more usable. Right now it's not very self-explanatory. It has a lot of impact on the generation itself. If you're unsure, just leave it on default. We have the time image quality. Less time means less steps in generating, but then the image would be not very nice. We have more steps, but at one point you just get to that field of it doesn't make any change anymore. So having it around 25, or let's just say 25 is totally fine. We have the AI human collaboration. So if the slider goes more in the direction of AI, then it interpretates more based on what it was trained on. And if we put it more in the direction of human, then it generates really specific in the direction of the prompt. The seed is something that you can see as a randomization of an image. So if it's fixed, then this orange lock is activated. Then the seed won't change and the image will always come, let's say, from the same source. But if it's not fixed, then it will always randomize the image every time you hit create. So even though the settings are exactly the same, it will create a new image. The model weight is important because right now we have a fine-tuned model and we can decide how much input on an image generation it has. We usually put it on the value that seems to be quite a good choice, but especially when you get to import your own models, this is a very important field where you can weight, like put it on 0.9. If it is on 1, then it's kind of like 100%. If you put it on 1.5, then it might over train or over deliver. So 1.9 is a good start, and ControlNet is something that we are going to look at a little later. So let's just hit the create button and see what happens. So sometimes when it doesn't look like it's generated, even though it says ta-da, you just have to refresh and then you will see the generated images in your storage. These are two, and I had the usual prompt of an architectural sketch of a pumpkin-shaped house at a cliff, and that worked out quite good, I would say. So that was it for text to image, and the next chapter will be image to image.